Yes.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. And good evening, Wassu, my friend.
Yo.
Welcome. Well, here we are. We're doing this for the first time. We're doing this live. Because we've been doing this for a lot of times.
Yeah. Like what? Like 6-7 months now? I don't really know.
Yeah, I think 6 months. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if something's up with the sound, please let us know. If it's too loud or too soft or you can't hear us, let us know. But yeah, 6 months, dude, and it's been my weekly. It's been a nice thing to look forward to weekly, to listen to your new music and to you go on about, okay, I need to change this, or where do I need to take this track? What do you think?
Well, it was. And you've been all over the place too, because I remember when we first started doing sessions, you were like underneath a pool in Ibiza.
Oh yeah, true. And then I was back in Holland, and then I was in Airbnb, and now I'm in the new place.
Yeah. And we did sessions like super late. Like we were doing them like 6:30 my time, which is like 11:30 your time. Yeah. And they would go until like 1 or 1:30, and then you moved back to Spain, where now those times are no longer feasible.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy that it's they went like this. Wassu baby is too soft, Hyder says. You're too soft.
Where are you seeing the comments, by the way? I'm not seeing them on my screen for some reason.
Yeah, because I'm the orchestrator, so I get all the stuff I get here on, like, I've got a whole. You should see my screen, man. Oh, it's jumping. You should see my screen. It's filled with. But so I see all the comments. I have an app, so I get them from Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So they all gather here on my. But it's not. You probably will only see the ones that are coming on.
Maybe it's because I'm tuned in from from my page as opposed to my personal page.
Yeah, and that's exactly. So you will only see that one. I get them from all the streams. So like Wisdom is on Twitch. We have Ace Gonzalez in the house on YouTube, and we have Hyder on Facebook. So basically, so maybe you see a few people watching. There might be 1,000 people watching everywhere. No, that's crazy, but yeah, we do have quite some people. Hey, and by the way, can you go into your Zoom settings?
See him now. I see him now. Yeah, I see him now.
Can you go into your Zoom settings? Maybe go a bit louder.
Just go to, I guess, system preferences.
Yeah, and then your microphone, you can switch it a bit to the right.
Hang on.
Ace is asking if we're going to have a replay. Yes, we're going to have a replay. So it's going to be online at youtube.com/lessonsinlive. You'll find all the shows that I did. I've done shows with Elke Klein, Josh Butler, Joko, loads of other people. And they're all on youtube.com/lessonsinlive. So this one will also be available for you guys. Okay.
Camiel, how's that? I nudged it a good amount to the right.
Yeah, you sound louder, so that should be fine. Ready. Nice. Hyder's getting ready to test your knowledge today.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and Dan Grimm is online. Wasabi.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Nice.
Dan is Grief, or I probably botched that, Grife. He had a new mix out today for my friends at Distant Grooves, so...
Cool. Yeah, you do a lot of stuff online, right? With streaming, and you also have a lot of people around you that do a lot of streaming, like on Twitch, and
Yeah. I try to do it for I try to save it for the weekends. Like Fridays are usually Tom will usually go, my friend Marsh will usually go in the afternoon, and then he'll raid me at 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern. It's better that way, I think. And I think you and I have talked about this, but typically during the week, that's when I like to get the bulk of my production work done, because I'm a routine kind of guy. So I work, until 6 or 7 o'clock, and then I hit the studio until, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. And then weekends, I kind of just, Friday's good for streaming because you're still doing something music related, but it's not, as intense as being in the studio. And then kind of Saturdays and Sundays, I don't really do too much music related. I kind of just take those days off to relax and chill and enjoy that weekend, I guess.
Yeah, I've been joining some of your streams. It's cool to see, man, how that goes. It's always back there, right? And it's sort of there.
Yeah. I mean, my dishwasher is open, of course. That's the thing that people make fun of me for in my streams. But I cook. I've been cooking a good amount more now, so that's why I kind of have it open.
Hey man, you don't want your dishwasher to smell, so you better have it open, right? Yeah, they can make fun, but
that's one argument.
They have smelly dishwashers.
That's certainly one argument, but I have 2 tables. It took me a while to figure this out, but my kitchen's over there, and then I have my XDJ XZ over there, and then I have my cameras and lights over there. But originally, I was doing it facing this way, and then I was doing it kind of that way for a bit and working at the same spot where I stream. So it took a while to figure out the setup, but I think I finally found something that works.
Yeah.
Of course, now when things are starting to get back to normal, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. It's nice. Cool to have such a setup, man, and to stream. And I see people also have emojis and stuff. I haven't never seen it on Twitch before.
I have a Kool-Aid. I have a Kool-Aid emoji. I have a Kool-Aid jammer emoji. I have an open dishwasher emoji. I have I have also a sauce, a bottle of sauce emoji. And then I have somebody got me a sign that says Rad Street, so I've got a Rad Street emoji as well.
Yeah. Hey, Zap Music is online. Hey man, what's up? You bring lots of cool people here. That's nice.
It's the reckless crew, the wrecking crew.
Nice. It's so much fun. Nice. Cool. So man, and I don't actually have to ask you how's it been, because we speak a lot to each other.
I think every day.
Yeah, every day, almost. Probably. Yeah, a little message here and there, and trying to plan a session and then move the session and then move the session back. It's so funny.
Yeah. Like this weekend actually.
Yeah, because I had this course that I was supposed, and then suddenly they, you have to fill in a survey sometimes to give up your dates. You're free, and then you give up, and then later on you forget you've gave up 4 dates that you're free, and then suddenly you're not free anymore, and you're like, and then the thing got canceled. So I was like, okay.
Well, the time difference just makes it like a freaking headache.
This hour lately, I've been really struggling a lot with people with lessons. Like, oh wait, it's now. Oh wait, we picked up on the hour. It's crazy. Yeah.
I did a couple I've done like a couple sessions with Tim Green, and like even just like the 4 or 5 hour difference, and like he's now a father too, so it's like, you know, the time that typically works best for us is like, you know, 9, 10 or 11 a.m. Eastern on like a Saturday morning, where it's like, you know, I'm not super thrilled about waking up like relatively early on a weekend morning, you know. Yeah. But that's like, you know, that's like 3 or 4 o'clock his time, and he's got you know, he's got personal stuff to take care of. So
yeah. It's, you know, you gotta be flexible as a teacher as well as a musician, I guess. And how important are these sessions for you? Because, you know, obviously we've been doing a lot, and I know you do a lot as well. And it's nice to see that you've been doing so much and releasing so much. Are these sessions for you important to keep the flow going or keep the inspiration going? What's the reason for you to reach out to most of teachers online? Because you know a lot, you know, there's not much. I think
like with tutorials, like I was watching a few, and I still watch some like here and there, but a lot of the times, and I'm sure a lot of producer friends will agree, it's like a lot of stuff that you kind of like, I don't know, like already know, like, I don't know, like tuning a kick drum to the root of your song. Like what is modulation? Just kind of like high level stuff. It's really tough to like dive into some like nitty gritty granular topics through like YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I find like with sessions, like I think with you, for example, you do a really good job. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would say it's less so instruction. It's more so just like, hey, Weston, like you do this like a billion times. You do this on every track. Like, why don't you try doing something less? Like, why don't you try programming your drums in as opposed to using loops, right? Yeah. Or like use the same, how about like, I'm forcing you to not only use 2 chords in this track. We did that once.
And then the ARP was a big thing as well. Build something around an ARP, and you know, I think it's one, just like discipline and like getting stuff done, and like 2, like approaching things with a different perspective and having the ability to just not allow your sound to get stale, I guess, is kind of like, that's one of the biggest reasons why I work with you. I mean, that one track, I'll keep names out of it, but that one track named after you, like that's like complete, you know, you would agree that that's completely left field from like my typical stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we tried to make a tech house or something, more tech house kind of Crimson kind of vibe, you know, a bit more.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah, didn't happen. No, it became more dreamy because you're such a dreamy guy, apparently. So, but nice to hear, man. I'm glad I'm of help. But of course, I knew this, but it's also nice for the people to know what we're actually doing. But I think it's valuable to find somebody that can take you out of your Camus, says Harder. It's nice to have somebody that takes you out of your comfort zone. You know, I've been making music for 23 years, and every time, at some point during all these times, I got stuck, and then I met somebody that showed me something. I was like, oh wow, I can do this totally different. You know, like Malbetrieb has been. He plays now as Johannes. He makes some amazing music. He took me a lot. A lot out of my comfort zone, you know, like, hey, try this, and just totally different way of working, you know, and try totally analog. So I went totally analog and totally back in the box, and you know, it's nice to experience everything. And I think it's great you're seeking this, because it will constantly give you tricks for your trick list, you know, and just keeps you motivated or so also. And having this appointment, I have this with learning Spanish. I have an appointment every week. So I keep on like conjugating and learning new words, and then every week I can speak to my teacher. And we don't really do so much, but we just chat. So by just chatting, you're actually together. You're practicing, sort of. Hey, my camera, it's back.
Yep. No, exactly. And I think like that's kind of the whole point of just growing, like growing as a person, or growing as a producer, or growing in any sort of art that you're pursuing, right? Is really just like exploring areas where you're uncomfortable. Again, like going back to the example of like programming drums, or going back to the example of like not using a piano, like not using chords in a piano for a specific track, or I don't know, like a slower BPM. Like those things are going to allow you to grow as a producer, and therefore like allow you to be versatile, because I think what's really important, while it's important to have a sound, I think it's equally important to be able to be versatile, right?
Yeah.
And not produce the same sound over and over again, because
it's
producer or not, fans recognize like
Yeah.
when you're doing the same sound like over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's always more fun. Why would you want to make the same thing over and over again?
Exactly.
At some points, it's also not numbing. That at some point that there's no new input. And I think like the book 74 Ways of Making Music by Dennis DeSantis from Ableton. Yeah, I know you're in Logic, but this book is really great. It comes up with a problem, like you're stuck or you can't get tracks finished or this or that, and then it comes with a solution. So it looks at different approaches to making music. And it also says like switch it up. You can learn maybe more from a style that you totally actually don't like, but just by analyzing the style, you can find new tricks or new
that's so true.
Reverb tricks
so
or new delay tricks, whatever, Yeah. And
and I think to that point as well, like I've been kind of on a binge of like the last like really like 4 to 6 weeks. I think I wouldn't say I got tired of listening to electronic music, but I got a little like fatigued from, I guess, like working on it so much and listening to it so much, that I've been listening to a lot more like alternative rock, which is really kind of the roots of how I got into music in the first place when I was a kid.
Cool.
It was like kind of like, 90s alternative rock, like Goo Goo Dolls, Dave Matthews, kind of like Third Eye Blind, like bands like that,
Oh, wow.
and it's a good way to like get inspired, it's a good way to sort of like incorporate other musical ideas from other genres into the music that you're making. Whether that's like samples, incorporating samples from like jazz and blues, trap, hip hop. That's like an interesting way to make your sound differentiated from the rest of the market, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice, And I don't know if you know this series, Everything is a Remix. It's a YouTube series where they actually show that everything is a remix. like lots of stuff has already been done. The most hits that we listen to are inspired by some hits from the past that were inspired by some hits from the past. Or basically everything is a remix. That's what they say. Little shout out to Jared. Super nice you're here. Jared's online. Danny Farrell. Hey man, he's here as well. Great. We have a lot of people online. That's great. If you're here, engage. Feel free to join, ask a question or whatnot. Let's listen to a bit of music so people can actually hear what you're doing.
Sure.
So, which one do we do? The remix or?
Let's. I got Mariano fired up here. So should are we going to use the Zoom audio device then?
Yes. Yeah. So you can just share your screen, and I'll play the track, and in the meantime, you can start sharing your screen. And I'll turn on my clinic lighter. Great. All right.
All right, cool.
Okay, guys, enjoy this one. Nice. Great.
All right.
That was Mariano.
Mariano, yep. All right. So can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's nice. Let me make it a bit bigger here.
I zoomed out because I feel like it's best to kind of start with okay, look, it looks like it's on the live screen now. And I switched with the audio, so you should be able to hear it. You hear it okay?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
I
okay,
think
cool.
the rest also hears it.
Yeah, so like where do you think I should really begin? I guess in terms of like maybe what I started with first in the
maybe can I comment something?
What's that?
Can I comment something?
Yes.
I really like your structure, you know. It's nice. It looks very structured. I've always tried to teach my students structure, but you have the like up there, and Ableton doesn't have you can make locators, but it's nice. You can see the length of certain areas, which is nice, which gives you a nice how do you call it, structure or skeleton of a track before you actually start. How did you get that? Did you get it from a track that you really liked? Like, did you get that structure from a track that you liked, or is it just build up over the years from your own?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. For better or for worse, I feel like I never really used reference tracks that much for arrangement. I mean, like sometimes if I do, it's like in a breakdown. If it's like shit, like I don't know what I need to add, or like I don't know. Like for example, like in this track, there's actually a full breakdown with no drums at all. But one thing that I'm noticing, and for lack of a better word, organic house, in the organic house genre, there's not that many songs that have breaks that have no drums whatsoever. All the drums, they still have that contrast, but the reason is because on the drum filter, which you can kind of see, where is it? Down here, for example, they'll just gain stage the drums down. Like the drums are still going, or maybe they're filtered down, like the highs are filtered down a little bit. Yeah. So like that's something I've kind of noticed from listening to a lot of reference tracks in the space of it. In this case, there's still like 8 or 16 bars of no drums. Yeah. But for like a full arrangement, not really, man. I mean, I just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of just like do what sounds best. And I always, as it relates to arrangement, I always try to, introduce or take something away every 8 bars. I feel like it's so important to have something happen every 8 bars to keep the listener engaged, especially if the song is going to be 7+ minutes long. Yeah, to have the movement. Yeah, exactly. And also like LFOs and stuff help to make it a bit more interesting. Yeah, actually what I find when you, of course I make a bit more house oriented stuff. I did make more melodic stuff in the past as well, but I noticed that with the house, you always like also keep the groove a bit going, because I noticed when you play a track that stops all the way and you just have melodics or like a pad going on, then actually the whole room stops dancing because there's no Dude, it can be so awkward on a dance floor. Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't like to make tracks with a lot of like, okay, there's nothing left except this sound. It depends, if it's a rhythmical, like sort of bass line only left that you can still sort of like move to. But if there's no rhythmical element in the break, yeah, it must be a really good track in order for it to really work. Otherwise everybody just stands still.
And I think I might have been talking to like Nox Vaughn or somebody else about this, but like those types of breaks where there's no drums at all, I think you need to think about when you're making your music, you need to think about and conceptualize like where you envision your music being played, right? So like, for example, if you're like an Art Bat type of artist, or like an Eric Prydz where you're playing mostly in arenas, like a lot of the time, those breaks, like they work, right? Because they're in big, massive arenas, and it just builds so much contrast between the break and the build and the drop. But I think if you're playing, and that's why I kind of think in house and organic house, again, for lack of a better word, you still hear drums going, just kind of gain stage, gain reduced, or filtered down a little bit, is because otherwise it's a little bit jarring, I guess. So I think it's really important when you're writing your music to like understand and have a vision of like where you envision it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can sort of have an idea, like, what moment will this be played? And I think that's very important for sure. Yeah. Cool. We've got Justin Deckers on the line. Justin,
what up?
He checks every week. We always do a thumbs up to Justin. He always sends me thumbs ups on Facebook, so I always send thumbs up back. This man deserves the most thumbs up in the world. Such a star. All right, so Yeah, where do we start, man? I've seen so many projects, and I do find you have so much processing always on everything, but in the end, your tracks always sound amazing. So, what are some of the key plugins that you are using to make your sound? I know
Oh
it.
man.
I can even answer this question for you, but
Yeah, you probably can. Yeah.
yeah,
I think like Cthulhu is one that I use a lot of for like chords. But actually recently, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like I've actually started using Cthulhu like less and actually like playing in my own chords. I don't know, because you're kind of limited to the types of chords that you can play in Cthulhu.
yeah.
But it's always a good way to like sort of like, so for those that aren't familiar with what Cthulhu is, let's see if I can pull something up. Yeah, okay, here. So like this, I have it in art mode where you can basically like play a chord and it'll play like an arpeggiator around it. So like these are all the notes in the chord that are going to be triggered.
Yeah.
And then there's also this chord mode where let me just toggle over to that and I'll solo this real quick. So if I go to this, you can pick sort of your basic scale. So I think this one's either like G flat, G sharp major, or C minor, or something like that. Can't even remember. Let's look at the MIDI and find out. Whoops. Yeah, I think it looks like it's in C minor. But anyway, so what you can do is you can fire up Cthulhu, and is my MIDI keyboard on? I think it is. Yeah, it's just like, and I'm playing one note on the keyboard, on the MIDI keyboard, and it tells you on the left here like what types of chord you're playing, which is pretty sweet. And they're all in key.
Yeah, I remember you showing me this. I was like, oh wow, this is like the Schwarzenegger for Ableton, but then
and then there's a way what you can do, and I always do this. I always voice the chords later, so like that's. And I've started doing this a lot less. I would say like recently I was starting out with like chord progression. I think like even when you and I started working together, like the first thing that I would do is like a chord progression.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm kind of like sick of that. I'm sick of doing that. So what I've been doing now is like either browsing through like Freesound, Splice, what else? Like Noise is another like sample set, and trying to find some like really cool like ambiances, or even some like, like dropping in something through let's see, if I pull up, let me just pull up another channel, like Quanta. We talked about Quanta briefly. It's like granular synthesis. What you can basically do is like
load any sample.
You can drag it. Yeah, you can drag in like an audio sample and like pick the grain, like position the grains. And you get this like cool, like sick ambience that you can use as the beginning part of the track. But yeah, kind of going back to Cthulhu here, like I always will like play sort of like a chord progression through like the one notes on the keys. And then if I like how it sounds, I'll print that to MIDI. And then I will voice the notes. Maybe I'll take like the root note, lower it down an octave, maybe like add some inversions, or like maybe move the fifth down to like the fourth. So it's like a suspended fourth chord, like whatever it is, to like sort of manipulate the voicings a little bit to make it just a little bit more interesting. That's how I was like, I think that's how I started with this guy, with Mariano here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen you work with it, of course, and it's nice to see that you sometimes go look for which it's nice, but it's not nice enough. I need to change some of the chords around, and just by checking it out, and after a while, a bunch of combination that worked in the past, you go like, oh, maybe I can use that one again, which is nice. So you always learn from doing it, I think Cthulhu is a great way for people to get to know sound theory, or music theory. So when you start using it, you get some inspiration for chord progressions, you get some inspiration for chords, and after a while of using it, you will have more knowledge about it. So yeah, Cthulhu is great to use. Hey, Paul Cornegie is here as well.
What up, Paul?
Hey.
What up?
Yeah, you send him my way, right? He did the beginner's course. Nice. Is he
still in Jersey? We keep missing each other. He's been like, so he moved out to LA, but he's been back to Jersey, New York area like 2 or 3 times, and I keep friggin' missing the guy. I feel bad.
Oh gosh, you can make it.
We always realize like, oh, let's get lunch, or like let's do, and we've missed each other like the last like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, such a star, my guys. Nice. You're watching, Paul. Super cool. Maybe you learned something, even though he's in Logic. Don't do that. He's in Cali now. All right.
So yeah, I just missed him. He was here like I think he was here last week for our friend's wedding or something, and I missed him. So
there will be more times
that's
coming up. Yeah. Hey, we have a question from Dan Grimm. What's your approach when you found that nice chord progression, but not sure how to keep it interesting and changing through the track?
Ooh, did I do that here? That's a good question. I think I don't know if I did it here. I might have kept it going throughout like the whole song. I did it in another demo that's not released yet. But one thing that I sometimes do is like there are actually like ghost notes here. So if I play it, you see like the little ghost notes there. It takes a chord progression and it just makes it so much more interesting. So to Dan's question, like sometimes what I'll do is I'll play the flat chords out with no ghost notes whatsoever, and then maybe like 16 bars later into the first verse or whatever, I'll then introduce those ghost notes. So it's like, oh, it's the same chord progression, but then you have these like ghost notes added in.
Yeah. Different, like, don't they call them also passing notes, or something?
Yeah, passing notes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also what I like to do, if, if you have like notes or chords, and at some point you're like, hey, I want to change it up. You can use them and make sort of like a different rhythm with the same chord progression and use a different sound that plays that rhythm over the long chord. So you have a long chorus and you get like a shorter sound to play a short rhythm going along with that chord. So you get more of a rhythmical element that's doing the same thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and in Logic too, you can also do like where is it? Like you can use the modulation. I got to use this thing more often, but I just got into it, to be honest. You could pick a parameter, like you could tell it to, where is it? Learn MIDI, or learn plugin parameter, and you can like select the plugin parameter and what it'll do. And you could pick like the modulation, like what it does.
Dude, this is like LFO tool or like...
yeah, exactly. And so you could like choose like a random one. So that way, to your point about like keeping it interesting, you pick like the filter cutoff, for example. So it's like playing randomly, like when the filter's like open in certain areas.
That's it, man. That's what keeps it super interesting. I use it all the time in Ableton. LFO tool, like LFOs are super nice. And you also have an LFO in Max for Live in Ableton. You can just literally, if your synth runs out of LFOs and you have this tool, you can actually map a parameter of that synth to this LFO. So basically you're getting unlimited LFOs. And then you can have an LFO LFOing that LFO if you really want to go freaky, which is super nice.
And do you use, let me see if I can find it, in the Matrix in Serum as well, there's this real, I'm sure you use this, but as opposed to like using like a standard LFO with like a standard rate, you can go into like the Matrix, and then as opposed to picking like, standard LFO2, you could pick Chaos 1, and you could pick sort of the amount, so that it's like bouncing around as opposed to like, oh, it's like, going back and forth.
Chaos 1 is in the global, right? In global, you can change the chaos and switch. I haven't used it that much though, but it is super random.
I use it like if I'm using like a Serum synth or something, like I'm using it a lot.
Yeah, to make random stuff. The more random some stuff is, depends on how important it is in the track. If it's too random, it's crazy. But usually it's nice to have stuff.
You need some sort of randomness. No, I feel like when I first started getting into music production, like 3.5 years ago, I didn't like fully appreciate the importance of like modulation and just like randomness in a track. But now it's like I like kind of geek out about it a little bit, because as a listener, these are things that the listener won't be able to point out or won't be able to highlight, but definitely notice.
That's what creates the magic, man. It's like life, if you have some random events, it keeps it interesting. If everything is just predictable and stuff, then you're like, okay, well, just another day. All right, here we go.
Exactly.
The best. Yeah. So how?
And I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. You first.
I was going to say with Dan's question too, I guess this is like kind of like the obvious, but like, I guess another thing too is just like filtering. So I think like, into the first verse, it like opens. So it's like filtered down, So like filtering down pianos when like, verse comes in or something like that. That's a thing that I'm doing.
I usually have like a super slow LFO going, like filtering the piano a bit and then coming up again and then filtering again. And I really like that sort of like variation, which I can't control because it's an LFO. So it's going to be every time I render the track, it's going to be different. But that makes it a bit more magic. Unless I really want to control it, then I'll draw automation and not use the LFO. But it's nice. So yes, Dan. I hope
exactly.
That's.
I think it might have been you actually, man. I think because you love the word movement. But I think it might have been you that like forced me to start geeking out on like LFOs and modulations.
Yeah,
and
it was
stuff.
one of the first sessions. I think session 1 or 2 was the LFO. Remember, we used the volcano of Fab Filter for the first time.
That I didn't even know that was like a thing. But I've started using that. I've started using that quite a bit. Although I don't think there's a way to make it random. I think you have to stick to a rate because I tried like the random modulation and it like didn't really work.
Yeah, it depends on there's like sample and hold. I'm not sure if that's in there. My camera.
Yeah.
There's I think a sample and hold, but you can also in Ableton you have random waves, so you don't have only a sine or square, but you also have random, which is does what it says. It just jumps random, you know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks for tuning in.
That's a good question. But then, I think like specifically for like, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe this is another way that I could sort of push myself outside of my comfort zone. But like starting, I talked about starting music now with like ambiances and like drones and stuff like that and like granular synthesis. But maybe like, and I don't think I've ever done this actually, but maybe just like, it'd be interesting to see, but starting a track with just drums. I've never done that. I've never done that, ever.
Dude, I'm still, okay. And if you do that, then please do breakbeat.
I hate breaks.
I know. but you know, just like
every one of my close producer.
How can you hate breakbeats, man? That's ridiculous.
Dude, Marsh will send me like some like he started dabbling into some break stuff. Like he just on the remix pack that I released on Anjuna a couple weeks ago. He did a break remix with Braxton on one of his tracks, My Stripes, like a couple weeks ago. And he like sent me the work in progress and he like flat out, so he's like, you're going to hate this because it's breaks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like as Paul says, Camiel loves breaks. I love breaks, man. Like a break beat's great. Sometimes you just need to make a break beat. And also it breaks stuff up. It will, trust me, I will, I might not convert you to Ableton, but I will convert you to break beats at some point.
I think you'll convert me to Ableton before you convert me to breaks, man. I'll be honest.
Might be. Didn't I offer you like a free class? Like you can join whenever you want, just so I can show you.
You sure did. You sure did. I'm still mulling it over. Yeah. My friend, the guy who's also on this EP with me, with the 2 other tracks, Jimbo. He just made the switch.
Yeah, great. This is a smart guy.
Well, dude, I think the biggest issue with Logic. Well, one, I'm like so invested in it, but I think where Ableton wins is just like, and you've been like mentioning this to me a billion times. It's like the workflow, like all these plugins, right? Like I have the ability, like if I'm in Ableton, I have like the ability to make those changes like on the fly without like freaking the EQ is just an example without like having to pop it open,
Yeah.
And automations too just looks so much easier.
Yeah, you have a bunch of clicks that you'll save. You'll save a lot of clicks also automation wise. It's way more always close by, so to speak. It's everything is just a bit more thought through from a creative workflow perspective.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're so used to it, it's a really good program and it has so many great options and it sounds great. But in the end, you can also rewire it. So by learning a different DAW, you're also expanding your knowledge as well as getting more insight. Like if something works a certain way in Logic, you go like, hey, that works like this in Ableton. Oh, it's interesting that they just different. It gives you insights like how you can use certain features. But as well, because it's rewire, you don't have to say goodbye to it. It's still there. Or you could work in Logic with Ableton as a rewire, or working. When I made the switch from Logic to Ableton, I had Logic and a rewire for a long time. And the same I did with Reason when I moved from Reason over to Logic.
When did you make that switch?
That's a long time, man. I think that's about maybe longer. 13 years ago, I made the real move. Like then I really didn't open Logic anymore, but I think the transition period was 3 years. So I think it's been 16 years ago or something that
God.
Yeah, Ableton 3 or something. Yeah, or 2. Yeah, it's crazy. I had a live set, and I think Ableton 3 with a friend of mine. We were called Groove Live, and then Ableton didn't have any MIDI yet. Yeah, so I think I made the move as soon as Ableton got MIDI. I think Ableton 3 or 4. I'm not sure which one it was.
That's insane. That's ridiculous.
So as soon as it got MIDI, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Yeah, with the impulse. You only had the impulse, not the drum rack. Well, that's a long story. Nice. All right. So yeah, and also maybe it's nice. This track is your it's Graham. So hey, excuse my blindness, but only just to who is Weston talking to? This guy knows his stuff. Nice guy. Well, thanks, Graham. That's nice to know.
who is that?
Graham Clark. I don't know. He's
oh yeah, okay.
Maybe one of your crew, which is nice. Thanks, Graham, for tuning in. Well, I'm Camiel. I do Lessons in Live, which is a platform with education, and I invite artists on a Wednesday to come and chat about music. And I've been making music for 23 years, so yeah, I'm a super nerd.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, what I wanted to ask is the structure of your tracks. Is it always like the same? Or is it? Do you also switch it up? Because I've seen you use a lot of the same structure, but sometimes you make bits longer and shorter. Than what I've noticed. Hey,
I would say like earlier in the year and earlier in 2020, I found myself like using the same arrangement like over and over again.
Yeah.
And I kind of just got like frustrated with it. So like. Even just like little things, like if it's like 2 bars of just like no kick drum and like just silence, like stuff like that to like change things up, or like, if you're kind of working on like a clubbier track, like I wouldn't say like a filler track, but one that like doesn't really have like a melodic hook, or like one that's like really suited for the dance floor, like understanding that like maybe just like one break is necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, honestly, like some people struggle with arrangement and it's literally just trial and error. Like, and it gets easier over time because you finish more and more music and you kind of know like what fits where, like what will sound good. And it's just like a lot of the times, like I was struggling with the drop on this guy for like a while.
Yeah.
Like that was like probably the last thing to come together on this tune. Cause it's like, okay, I have this beautiful chord progression. I have these like mallets here, like, for example, like one of the last things that came together originally, I just had the ARP coming in. Oh, I guess it's not going to cooperate because the CPU, but let's see if we can. Whoops. It's going to wait.
Yeah.
And this works, don't get me wrong, like it's fine, but the last, and then I was like, wait, what if, sometimes it's not necessarily like adding new elements, it's taking the existing elements that you have and like looking at it visually. So like one thing that I do as well is I'll look at my project, like I'll like zoom out a little bit. Yeah, and I'll be like, I love okay, like, yeah. And I'll be like, okay, like this melodic element has literally been going on for like 5 minutes. Like you should probably get a rest at some point. Like it's kind of like a puzzle in a way. Yeah, and so like with this too, like that's when I was like, oh, I only had these Omni mounts like here for a second and I don't have them until later. What if I threw them in at like, what if I threw them in at the drop?
Yeah.
And it just like, that's when it,
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit of a life hack is also looking at your project and seeing like, okay, what like elements aside from your drums obviously are kind of like dragging on, I guess. Yeah. And like just using your ear to identify like when do you start filtering them down, when do you cut them, when do you and then I like for my structure too, I always try to do this. Is what I call like the home run moment. And that's the moment where it's typically like I almost always do this, but I typically save the last like 16 bars for the song where like everything is coming in. So you'll see here like the chords come in after like call it, like 554 there, and after like a minute and a half of rest, where like everything is coming in. And then there's this new, where's the string? This new like omni strings down here that just really ties everything home. And it's like, wow, like this is like what the song has been building up to over the last like 5 or 6 minutes. So I really try to like bring those last 16 bars to take everything home and try to like keep all the elements in as much as possible. Now, obviously you have to be careful with this because it can sometimes cause your mix to sound a bit cluttered, but in terms of structure, like I almost always try to do that.
Yeah, and it's nice. And do you think that's like these sort of like presents, that only happens like, what is it?
16 bars. That's it in the entire song.
16 bars,
and then
that's like,
and when it happens, you're like, oh my god, like this is it. This is like the moment that the song has been waiting for.
Yeah. I also like to put elements in like only one. You always need to have one or two elements that's only once in the track, or like these quirky sounds that only come by once. You're like, what was it? And it
dude. Comes back, 100%. Like these omni strings, which are like this omnisphere strings that are like so beautiful. It's like literally only there for like 8 bars. Oh, did it just crash on me? Watch, it just crashed.
Well, and then you get this. Well, that happens. You know, you got to move to Ableton. No, no, it happons with Ableton.
Why don't I actually, since it's a remix? I got to be careful. I don't want to show too many of my projects. Why don't we fire up the remixes? That's going to be mostly just stems and audio, so it should be better.
Yeah, maybe if it's a lighter project would be nice. You know, we can also show the one that we've been working on. I really like the drop on that last track that we.
Oh yeah. Let's
insane.
see.
I really think I don't know. Maybe it's even like dance from a dance floor perspective. I really like that track because it's so danceable, and I think it's a bit more. It's a bit less dreamy and a bit more. It's got some more balls or something, you know.
yeah.
All
right, let's.
You know.
Is this it? I think this is the one. Oh nope. Okay, I think this is it. Let me just fire it up. Hopefully this one will be better. That sometimes happens. Like CPU will just like crash on me. Yeah. Dude, I'm so ready to get like a new computer. I'm working on a 2016 Mac, and I think it's 16 of RAM or something like that. It's an i7 processor. I just want to get a beast where you know like I can like run these Zoom calls and not have CPU issues.
Yeah, I have. I'm pretty fine now. I bought a new computer last summer, and I'm really happy. I got this mega big hard drive with 8 terabytes, and trust me, dude, everything's on my computer.
That's the old processor, right? Like the Intel processor.
Yeah, it is still. It's not the one of the newest, but it's it works like crazy still. It sometimes acts like a plane though. Sometimes it just wants to like fly away. It sounds like, but it works, you know. It actually can do a lot of stuff, and then you're done for another 4 years, something like this, and then you can.
I've got a lot of money saved up. I don't think they've announced. All right, we've got my. Is this the? Crap! This might be the radio edit. But it doesn't matter, does it?
You can share your screen. So you want me to play it first? Maybe we can first listen.
Yeah, sure. Then,
so this was a remix for. Marsh, right?
Marsh, yeah.
Here we go. Nice. What a great track. I really like it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Max Lightweights. He's online. Yeah.
Max?
Max Lightweight does the
He's in the
Soundgarden
Soundgardeners group. What's up,
community
Max?
guy. Yeah. And Saucy Remix. Kevin is online. Welcome, Kevin. Topsky, our plane guy. He loves the plane sounds on my laptop because he's a pilot, of course. Hey, and yeah, I think, Dan Grimm, I think the M1, I actually know another guy in Holland. He's also a certified trainer. He tried already, I think, Ableton on his new Mac, the M1, and it was working fine as far as I know. But yeah, man, take the leap. Also, he has a question. Do you approach creating the groove? How do you approach creating the groove for the track? Generally start with the groove or the melodic part?
I literally just mentioned this.
Yeah, like you
but yeah, I always start with the like the melodic elements first, whether it's like a chord progression or like ambiences and stuff like that. Because I feel like when you start with the drums, you kind of limit yourself to a certain sound melodically speaking. But yeah, we were just talking about it. Like maybe it's a challenge to start with purely just drums and like.
it's only an approach, you know. Yeah, I drove to Rome once through Paris, but I also drove to Rome once through Croatia, which is weird, but you know, it worked in the end. I got to Rome. So I really like to think that way, that, you know, there's only an approach, and every approach has a different angle, and every angle gives you different insights and different starting points, but in the end there will be result. And to decide what's the best, I don't know, it also depends on the whole process. You know, somebody makes a really good track starting with drums and create a great melody on top. Somebody starts with a great melody and creates awesome drums afterwards. So it's hard. I always find it hard to say like what's the best, but it's also good to.
I don't know. I mean, like between like me and my producer friends, like I can tell you like right off the bat, I've talked to this with Marsh, Tom. I've talked to this with like Enamor. Those two, like, I know they start with melodies first, like always. I think Tim does the same thing. I'm not sure, but almost like most producers in my network start with like the musical stuff first.
Yeah, or a hook. You find a super nice sound. You make a melody, or you make like a line. And you go like, whoa! You add some effects. You go like, whoa, this is a super nice hook.
I suck at writing hooks. That's like one of the last things I do melodically. But like drums and bass line is like typically the last that I like save that for last. Like I try to get all of my musical elements, like all my ducks in a row first, including the hook if I have one.
All my ducks in a row. That's nice. That American saying. That sounds great. All my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
That's great.
I guess it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Cool. I really, you know, I think that's what we talked about earlier. Like, our switching up the approach is really nice to get new results and new insights. So yeah, man, just try. Hey, I see you have a breaks channel. Breaks. DR breaks.
And don't worry, man. That is not mine. That is most certainly a marsh stem. Yeah, let's see. Where do you see that? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's a marsh stem.
Tutors online. Romania in the house. Or Germany, actually. German Romania.
Yeah, these are all directly from the original.
Oh, but this is not a break.
What's that?
It's not a break beat. I was hoping there was a tiny break beat inside your.
Yeah, those are one of the the sticks and the breaks are the main drums that I kept, and then I like these are all my stuff, all my own stuff. But yeah, this was actually the first remix that I ever attempted and did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this really your first one? You've never done one before?
Never, ever. No.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, it was after a live stream on a Friday evening in like December, and I loved the original so much that I just like asked him. You know, he was like putting together remixes anyway, and I said, "Hey, can you like send me the stems? I want to give it a crack just for like fun." It was like a cool exercise, you know.
But you never get asked for doing remixes because you release a lot of music.
I have. I definitely have, but it's. What's that?
You decline those requests, or?
Unfortunately, most of the time, because I'm just like so swamped. You know, it's like I'm just swamped with the day job, and I'm swamped with the original material coming out. Like I don't want to give too much away and talk about my summer release schedule too much, but I think there's like 12. I think there's like 12 songs coming out this summer. Not even kidding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it's like you gotta. You gotta know
We've
pick your battles.
we've never talked about this like during this whole time. Like, or I guess you mentioned it that it was your first remix, but it's weird though that I never really realized that you've never done a other remix, man. You should do a cool remix. We've got a remix competition for Happy Camper Records.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I think like with this, and I like the intuition for me was like, okay, like how can I pick a single, in this case like Florence off the album, like how can I pick a single where I like really like all the elements, but I know there's like something else that can be changed or like manipulated with the existing elements to make it my own spin on it. And I think like a lot of that is with like the main like lead here, like the gated lead. And our favorite plugin, Tantra here.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But
shout out to Aaron Volta. He mentioned it in my dive.
But if you take off the processing, you know,
it's ridiculous.
It gives it more movement. You know.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with Tantra because it can introduce some like really ugly resonances, and I find that this smooth knob helps with that a lot. It
can sometimes have a lot of, because it's just LFOing, so the smooths it out, you know. It's nice.
And the glitch too can like introduce
wet,
some like
I usually use the dry wet a lot to make it.
It's pretty touchy though, man. Like you kind of have to have it at like 100%. I don't know. I find that if I go below like 80 or 90%, you can like you can hear it, but it's I don't know.
I find it around like 3 o'clock. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what, like, yeah, exactly, like 85%.
Dan Grin says, "Holy shit, what's that one again?" That's the Tantra plugin.
Like, yeah, every person that we've shown this to has like lost their minds to this plugin. It's insane.
Yeah, as soon as it was Aaron Volta, I think he was in the show before Cora or after Cora. And he showed that one, and it's ridiculous. It's great for progressive music, but it's also great. I know a lot of house heads that use it because it's nice for over your steps, and it's nice to draw in your own kind of LFO patterns. It's just a mega LFO unit. It's a great thing. If you're looking for alternatives, then you can also check out the Sound Sugarbyte Effectrix plugin, which is also like a stacked sequenced.
Are you talking about Sound Toys?
No, the Sugarbyte Effectrix.
You're gonna have to email me that one.
I'll send it out. It's like also like you can step sequence effect, so you can put it on any source, and it will actually, you can say, okay, you get 1/16 notes on like first to flanger, then it goes into delay, and then we do a tape stop. So when it stops, it's super great.
It kind of sounds similar to I use this guy a lot, the Effect Rack as well, where you can like pick different like presets, and it takes all the Sound Toys plugins and it stacks them on top together. Like I love like the modulation channel, this is I'm gonna put Marsha on the spot here a little bit, but he loves this rhythm channel one.
Yeah.
It's like it's pretty cool. I've used it quite a bit as well, actually. Let me just turn off all the processing so you can like kind of hear what it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So I use Effect Rack a lot, and I've started diving into the filter section over here too. They've got some like really presets. Like play around with presets, man.
It's a bit like guitar rig as well, right? Or not? Like
it's kind of similar, yeah. But yeah, like that's like I love like kind of messing around with Volcano. I gotta get into Volcano again. Volcano has some like really good ones as well.
Yeah, all the Fab Filter stuff, man. These delays as well. There's crazy presets in there that gives you good starting points, you know.
And I think like going back to our point about like movement and like modulation, like LFOs and stuff, the same thing applies to like presets. It's like how can you take a sound, like, you know, in this case it's a beautiful chord progression, but like what can you do to like manipulate it, give it more movement, and make it just a little bit more interesting that you like wouldn't be able to play on a keyboard, you know? That's like so important.
Dude, that's what I love about remixes. You get this source stuff, you know. You get these like you get like a nice. You go, oh, this is a nice sound. Let me just mangle it like crazy. Let me send it to a return and do all kinds of stuff, and then record that and use that as an element in the. So you still recognize the remake that it's a remix, but it's a totally new sound you get from just throwing a bunch of effects on there, which is great. I used to have the Camel Space plugin. I think that's now incorporated inside of Logic, right? I think.
What is it?
The Camel Space.
I don't know that one.
I think it's been incorporated into Logic now.
What type of plugin is it?
Camel Space, wasn't it Camel Space? Maybe somebody's watching. I used to have this. Joko is using it as well. Still, I was like, wow, I haven't seen that one for a long time because I thought it was like bought by. Man, now I have to Google it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, I hate when this happens. Camel Fat plugin. Let's see. It's like Camel Fat by Camel Audio.
It's not a stock plugin.
No, I thought it was all the Camel Crusher. I thought it was now.
I could probably do a better job of using stock plugins, to be honest. I'm almost always using.
Yeah.
I'm almost always using third-party plugins for the most part, except
you have like so many, Also, like the Golfos that you have on your master, that's worth a mention, man. This Golfos, people go get this. Golfos.
That's our secret. You're giving away our secrets. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, this thing is a freaking animal. It's just like, oh my god! Like I use it on my music, and I use it also on my master. I'm kind of kicking myself now because I have it bypassed on the music bus going up to 400 hertz, but I usually take it down to like 85 or like just when the bass and the sub bass start to kick. But basically what this thing does is it algorithmically identifies frequencies in your mix or your master, wherever you put it on your music bus or on your master chain or whatever, and identifies which ones are getting lost in the mix. And it just brings like the word for this plugin. If I had to describe this plugin in one word, it's clarity. Like that's it. Yeah. There's a difference between having a full spectrum, right? Like you could have a full spectrum and have like a crappy mix, musically speaking, right? But then if you throw this guy on your master, and I typically try to dial like the recover. I don't really touch the tame and bias too much, but if you tone up the recover or turn up the recover up to like, I don't know, like 25-30%, and same with the brighten, like it just adds like clarity.
Yeah, and it also calculates like if it's great for, it has all these sort of like molds where it should fit in, and if something is really weird, it will just correct it in a way. I've read about the plugin, and it's a great unit on your master. I've seen this. It's a beast.
It's the greatest plugin ever. Period. Like it's just a monster. Like, oh my gosh, like it's expensive for everyone that's like thinking about it, watching this. Like just trial it. There's a free trial, 14 days. Trial it. Yeah. Throw it on your master, turn up the brighten, like, I don't know, 25-30%, same with the recover. And then like, if you hate it, like never watch any like tutorials that I do ever again.
No, but everybody, I think people will love it because it does a lot of stuff. I don't know. It does a lot of stuff at the same time. Go check out Golfos. Great.
It's expensive. It is expensive, but like the beauty is like, you can use it. You can use it because some plugins, like if you trial it, it'll like introduce artifacts in your master and whatnot. Like I think like Isotope does this as well, but you can use it for like 14 days, and like export and like render stuff.
Yeah, and check it out. Yeah, and there's no noise or whatnot coming in. So that's it's great. Yeah.
When did that plugin come to market? I think it came to market like a year and a half ago. It's like
something like this. But new. when you got it, I just found out about it like a week before, and then I saw it on your bus. I was like, "Hey, dude, you have the Golfos?" I remember that. This is really cool. Like, oh wow, man! I checked that one. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, it's like it, dude. And the thing is it's literally good on everything.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't really make sense to use it on a channel, right? Because there's like really just like one.
Well, maybe you could use it on your drum bus or something.
But that's what I'm saying. On like groups and like buses, dude, it's amazing. Like on any bus, any it's just, oh god, like it's incredible.
Nice, yeah, cool. And what was it challenging doing this remix? Because I remember we had a reversed kick in there, and it wasn't allowed.
Yeah, he didn't like it in the end.
I still think it's nice. It was there, right?
I know. It was there. Do I have it there? Yeah. Here we go. It's in here. Good.
It's still there. Oh, you can unmute it. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Let's see what people think about the reverse kick. All right, here we go. Yeah. Okay. It's this guy right here. I love it personally, but he hated it. love
it
it,
in,
man. I don't know.
I also like it, but yeah, he's the boss. It's his original.
It's his album. Yeah, I wonder if like what if we crushed? I'm curious. Like, what if we crushed the hell out of this thing? Let's do. I don't know. Let's do like the mids.
Let's take the output a bit back. Then,
output down. Yeah, like 3 decibels. Yeah. Let's probably turn it down a bit more. Yeah, let's try that.
Jen likes it
too. Oof. Yeah, I mean,
that's. I'm so sad because I thought it was a really good idea.
Yeah, overdrive is really good. I think Bit Crusher was another one that's like a really good stock.
Yeah, and since we're giving away tips, to everybody, because there's a lot of people watching that are pretty advanced. So I keep a trick list, guys. Keep a trick list. That's one of the first things that I also told Wassu. Keep a trick list, write down what you know, because at some point reversing a kick or a hi-hat or a clap can be that one thing that you really want to add in your track at some point to add another detail to make the track more interesting. But you don't think about it at the moment you're trying to finish this track you can't finish. But if you have a list of all things that you've done over the years, and you wrote them down, and you make all these like you just write them down, like, oh, use this, or put a filter on there, use an LFO on this, or and all these things. If you have these at hand, it's going to be way easier finishing your tracks. My favorite trick list here, right? Is reversing. Well, I reverse a lot of stuff. I go forward, but everything else I reverse. Yeah, that's the trick list. Yeah, man. It's very personal. Don't ask anybody else for their trick lists. Just create your own trick list. It's your guide. It's your toolkit. I've never seen a handyman going to a gig, where he has to repair something and he goes, oh, you know what? Forgot my hammer. Goes back, gets his hammer, come back. You always bring everything that you have. So make a trick list so you can, when you're working, you can go, let me get this one. It's a great trick, the trick list.
Yeah, 100%. I need to use it more. I kind of thankfully I haven't gotten stuck. I haven't gotten stuck too much, but I definitely need to like use it more. But it's a shame. It's a shame about the reverse kick. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Here, Max. Yeah, man. But therefore you need to make it visible for yourself. Maybe write it down in your agenda next time you're going to make music, like, oh, use trick list, because it's really important, man. If you're stuck, you just look at your trick list, you're done. The things you learn from Lessons in Live. Yes, indeed. So maybe it's nice that I can show you guys my website. And there's a new course starting, a beginner's course and an advanced course. I have 4 spots available for the advanced course. So if you know anybody, or you've heard somebody say, hey, I want to get started, there's also an open day for Lessons in Live on the 10th of April. So check out lessonsinlive.com. And also there's an artist masterclass with Nora Q. And maybe we can do one, Wassu, at some point. That would be great, A
masterclass with me?
Yeah, man. We can do some kind of masterclass. Invite the people.
Down.
And help the planet a bit, because 5% is going to the Amazon forest.
Oh, sick! That's awesome.
Yeah, man. 5% of all the courses and the masterclasses go to a friend, Hannah. She's helping all the farmers in Brazil farm smarter.
Oh, you were telling me about this. Yeah,
there's a dive in live. Yeah. I also did a dive in live with her to let her show what she's actually doing with my goddamn money.
Yeah, my friend David in the chat, he missed this, I guess. He was asking about in the remix, like the song, the sound that goes do. We literally just talked about it.
Yeah.
Tantra, yeah. This plugin, man.
Yeah, it's like Aaron Volta. I'm not sure if he's watching, but Aaron, if you're watching this at some point, muchas gracias for this great plugin.
Again, you gotta be careful with those freaking. You gotta be careful with those resonances though. It can introduce like oof. Like what if I solo this and take off the EQing? It's gonna sound like awful. Oh. You can hear it like in the mids.
Yeah, it's very boomy in the low mids. Yeah.
Very, yeah. So, what else on this guy? Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like as it relates to the remix, like I think the best way to go about it is to try and keep it as simple as possible and use as many of the original elements as you can. Because I think the only things that I really added with, well, there's like bell, that was like probably the most iconic thing, that like little bell. But everything else musically was like pretty much.
I think it's also cool. I like to actually mangle it up and just use one element, the one recognized by element, and the rest all new, and still have it sound like a remix. I really like that approach. Can I ask you how you approach the mix down? What is your, because you mix as you go. I know that you mix as you go, so you don't make like a separate mixing session, or do you do at some point, okay, now the track's done, now I'm also going to focus like 2 hours only on mixing, or an hour only on how to fix the mix?
Yeah, and this is something that you and I are going to need to work on at some point. Close, don't save. Oops. Cool. So what I'm doing is I'm launching a template, and I'm sure some folks here know like what a template is, but this goes hand in hand with your question. I definitely mix as I go, and that's like channel mixing, I call it. So like EQing, side chaining. But like as I'm firing up this like template, the beautiful thing about templates is like you have all of your mix, like all of your mix buses, your like bus processing, like all of that stuff. And this is a little bit dated because it's from November, so I definitely need to update it.
Yeah.
But like all of that is ready to go.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of mix as I go, and like all of my, like I have, let me see if I can drag this up. Can you see it okay? Okay. And so basically like I have, like, this is just a blank project with like some chord progression in here and like some drums and like kick drums and stuff. But like what I can do is I have all of my music and my, like all my drums and stuff, like they're already like routed to their respective groups, Yeah. So like music to their music bus, like, drums to the drum bus, effects to the effects bus down here, as you can kind of see. So yeah, like I definitely mix as I go, but everything's like already grouped together and like more or less group processed together. And then I have like maybe one session where I kind of like tweak the bus processing and whatnot. But
yeah. And then add your,
I don't know. I like, dude, if I'm working and like the mix just sounds like total crap, like already as I'm going along, I'm just going to get uninspired.
Yeah. Funny, because I never, I never use any processing. I just use maybe some saturation, maybe some sidechain compression, maybe a low cut and a high cut, but like really EQing and really focusing on the mix, I just do it the last day. Okay, the track's done. I just listen through it. But I also find that I'm not tweaking everything too much. I'm just focusing on getting the track laid out. So I build a track in 4 hours, man, and then then it's one mix session and it's done. What's the fastest track that you've done? How many hours do you think it takes you?
I had the initial arrangement sketch of the Florence remix done in like 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go. And then but then how many hours do you need to finalize and mix? And
well, he had feedback, but I think his main point of feedback really was just like keep the drums going in the break and find a way to introduce the bell earlier. That's it.
Yeah,
that was literally it. So original track, I'm trying to think. The song Escape that I released last summer came together real quick. That was like 2, maybe 3 sessions. I find that the stronger ideas come together really quickly.
I've talked about it with a lot of guests about this, and it's usually, the best tracks, and it's also, I've heard like artists say it as well, like others, rock bands or whatnot, singer-songwriters, the best ideas is roll out, like you're literally channeling it into the universe, because I think it's, the harder it is to finish a project, it's never going to end up to be that project where, finally it's this. I don't know. I've never spoken to anybody that says, oh yeah, the one that I worked on for a year actually became my best thing ever. I'm not sure, it's usually with electronic music production, it needs to flow. you know, and in one day it should be definitely, if it's a good idea, it rolls out, you know, you're really enthusiastic and motivated to finish it off. So
and like I honestly used to be a guy, and that's like a really interesting point, but there's this, like, I didn't really fully appreciate this concept, but the flow state, it's a real thing, man. Like it's 100% a real thing. Like if you're just in the zone and you're just like chopping away at like, because essentially the way that one of my mentors described making music is like the creative process is like its own session, right? Like that's like where you're in loop mode, jotting down ideas, shotgunning melodic ideas, adding in, you know, drum loops and stuff like that, getting kind of your core 16 bar loop, like set. And then you eventually get to a point where it just becomes like literally a task. Right. And then like, if the idea is strong and the fundamentals are strong, then that task portion of creating the song comes together like very quickly. And I am a guy that used to be like on my phone a lot, but now like I really value the time of being away from my phone and being in the project and 100% focus, because once you're in that flow state mindset, it's so easy to bang out music really quickly.
Yeah, and also like you start, you have something cool, you go like, wow, this is nice. You go leave the room, get some tea or whatever, you come back, and you're and it's still nice. You continue and you're into it. Within an hour, there is a really nice loop, and within another hour, or like in a half hour, there's a great arrangement. And then basically, you know, you can fine tune it with one more session. You know, when you're, you know, that's going to be the task, to finalize it. And then you just have to do another mix down. And exactly, leave your phone in another room. Turn off your WhatsApp, turn off your email so you don't get notifications. You can even you can set your notification on your Mac on Do Not Disturb, you know. And I was making some music yesterday. I really turned off. I wasn't on my phone for that time. It was really nice to not be disturbed and just get into that flow and just finishing off a track. So I worked on 3 tracks yesterday, actually. Crazy. It's been a while. I think moving to Spain and getting my own spot here, it's nice, you know.
100%. I'm just firing up like an idea that's like not even like close to.
Cool. Is this one that I've heard?
I think so. So this is like nowhere near to being like arranged, you know. But let me see. Hopefully, the audio setting should. Okay, yeah, we should be good. Like I haven't even like added drums yet, you know. So this is like a sax,
I think you've played this to me as well. Yeah, it's a buttercup one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about the sax. Funny. Funny sound. You can actually turn everything into anything.
Yeah, so I'd like basically like I'll have like a 16 bar loop like this, and then like this is nowhere near to being done, and because I haven't even like added drums yet. Like I don't even know what like any of this stuff is. Nope. So like that's gone. And it's literally just like trial and error.
Last time also you just threw something in a sampler and you started playing it in the sampler as well. That's also a nice technique though. Just if you have a cool sample, but the whole loop is a bit like meh, you just take one shot of that loop and put it in the sampler and start playing around with it in the sampler.
Exactly. Like just like taking, or even like in Quanta too. That's like another one as well. It's just like, you know, dragging and dropping like a sample. So let's see. Like you can go into like Quanta, and then I don't know.
Hey, and anybody online? We have quite a few people online. We have around 30 people on the different platforms. If you have a question for my friend Wassu, feel free to do it in the chat. If you're on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, doesn't matter. It will arrive here in my inbox, and we'll drop them into. So if you have any questions, production-wise or career-wise, or how do you approach labels, anything that you'd like to ask, throw them in there. Let's make it interactive.
Definitely. I got to turn the oscillator off, and then you can like change the shape. This is like going back to your
well, you can change the grain size as well, and the shape and the sizes. I love this Granular stuff, man. But it's also it's also a rabbit hole, man, where you hardly can get out. It's like, oh wait, I spent an hour tweaking shit.
Yeah, so even that's like a pretty cool.
It's like a tremolo. Yeah, nice. Tremolo.
You know, let's give it some movement. Sounds a bit out of key, so I can do like waves, sound shifter. This is like better than any stock.
I really like this one. It's also good on vocals if you want to pitch down with some vocals.
What does mixed in key say that this is?
And mixing keys, awesome. If you need to know what key your samples are in, just check mixing key. It's such a great tool.
So that should be in key, I think.
Sometimes it's a bit weird though. You need to use some synthy tones and you know.
Yeah, you have to like, I don't know. Where was I? Or what you could do, you could cheat.
Tyrus is great. Yeah, guys. By the way, if you follow our course with Lessons in Life, you get 50% discount on Tyrus Autotune.
Yeah, you get the idea. Quanta's pretty neat for that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like an idea that I'm working on. I probably would like add drums. I'll probably I don't know.
Can you show the one that we just finished, like this drop? Like to give a little, like,
yes.
You know, it's okay. It's not gonna be, you know, it's gonna be just a little bit of the track. But
Sure.
I think people will really like to hear something that you've made that is finished and it's gonna see daylight at some point. And it doesn't even have a label yet, but it sounds amazing. I'm really a fan of this track.
Let's.
It's a powerful one, man. I can't wait for everything to open up, and then we go somewhere and we can dance like crazy. And this drop is ridiculous.
All right, it's just firing up now.
That also didn't take a lot of sessions. You had the beginning, then you worked on it for a bit, and then we did 2 sessions like rocking. It's crazy.
This one took a little while. It took a little bit to get it done, but yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that one. That I was just I'll probably like add some like drums and like that's something I need to do more of is like sampling stuff, like dragging stuff into like sampler and like playing notes around it and stuff.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Or record some Foley sounds, you know, in your house. Hit some stuff. Tick, tick.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, you know, hit some shit and then record it and put it in. It's also nice.
I've done that. Yeah. All right. So, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Let's go to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
First break.
We got the art coming in.
Love the build on this one. definitely a tune.
This was like an interesting one for me too, because like I remember I tried like screwing around with like a chord progression like in the first verse, and it kind of like makes it too songy, you know?
Yeah.
So I did that. I think the break was a good time to do that. Oh, come on. Might not cooperate. Yeah, it's gonna give me issues.
Yeah. Oh man, you're right.
Let's try and see if it'll cooperate with me at the drop. Ugh.
Yeah, I love this one. It just has power, man. I can really see this in a room full on. Hey, what's the Lost in Mind? Somebody asks.
I think I tried sampling a clap from Volan Sentier that I ended up not using. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And I ended up not using it. Yeah, I just didn't.
Oh yeah, I remember that you at some point you were messing around with that, but unmuted again.
Yeah, so that's a tricky subject, like sampling other artists and sampling drums from other artists. I think it's fine. I think you can definitely do it, and I like all of my network does it in some way, shape, or form.
Again, everything is a remix. If you don't know the series, check out Everything is a Remix. It's a great sort of YouTube documentary, 3 episodes. You'll see Quentin Tarantino uses all his shots from the past videos. Led Zeppelin got a whole album from some guy. You know, it's Everything is a Remix. You know, there's no... That it's hard to be original these days. You know, everything is influenced by somebody. So if you take a clap or a kick... You know, it's just an honor for that person that you're just, you know.
Exactly. Think, and like, it's like, you know, like if you throw in the clap by itself, you don't like, look at all this EQ I've got going.
You know, good artist copy, great artist steal. That's a famous phrase, you know. And there's also this book, like the art of steal. No, what's it? I don't know. Fuck.
Actually, there's another. I think this might. I don't think he's really into it, so I might. Let me stop sharing my screen. He might not be. Let's see. Okay.
But I love that new track, man.
I think I might have shown you this loop as well. This one's a little bit more of a fleshed out loop. Don't save.
You showed me 2 loops last time. This the Buttercup one, and
that's my sister's cat.
Yeah.
My sister's deaf cat.
Oh, Buttercup. Yeah, I can imagine. Buttercup's a good name for a cat.
She fetches bottle caps. It's really strange.
Bottle. Oh yeah.
Like you'll have like a water bottle cap, and she'll like look at you while you hold it, and then you'll throw it. And she'll like chase it down.
Oh, but I think it's. I would do the same if I was a cat, and I'm gonna come back in my next live. I'm gonna come back as a cat for sure that likes to chase bottle caps. You know, that's so cool. Actually, the dog of my ex-girlfriend really loves bottle caps. He's like chewing it like. But she loves to chew anything, so that's.
All right, I think this one's a little bit more fleshed out, but let me.
Self-awareness. Wow, you were in a good mood. You were like awake.
Well, let me. Okay, cool. So it's purely just a loop right now. Like, you know, and then I'll start like, you know, when I'm thinking of. Nope, I hate that.
But this is a good basis. I'm not sure about the dun, 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 you know. but maybe a different sound or like make it a bit thicker. But it's a good basis. Yeah, the M1 I'm not sure about.
And then maybe like.
Yeah. Make it more. I had a session today with a student, and I added a pad into a track, and just as an example. But then the bass was great, and I added the pad. I was like, oh, and I filtered it down, and just filtering down a sound sometimes can make it really work with the rest that you have.
Exactly.
So really
exactly. Cool. Yeah. Exactly. Like that's kind of like a good way to like build contrast and stuff.
This is as far as I would go, like in the creative process, like a low cut or a high cut or some saturation. That's or some sidechain. That's as far as I go mixing wise. And then in the end, so that's the way I built the whole track. And then in the end, I'll do a mix down. And one day I'll go like, okay, now I'm gonna mix it down. Yeah.
The other thing that I started doing as well is like, oh God, I love this. Where is it? Freaking super massive, dude. It's so sick on like drums for like effects and stuff. So like if I try one of I don't know, like let's try like half note cluster, and then you adjust the low cut because you don't want any of the lows in your reverb or whatever. Let's turn this down.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a special value for your low cut on your reverb? I usually have like 300, 400, depends.
Yeah, 300 to 400 is good. And then you also want to get the highs as well, because you don't want the reverb at the highs. Maybe like down to like, I don't know, 10K or something.
Yeah, even though for hi-hat, sometimes for drums, I like to have a bit of like high reverb. Depends on the track though, it's nice.
Yeah. So if let's see. That might be too much. Like,
yeah, well, it's a nice though. It's a nice like extra effect. Yeah,
so maybe like you have it like here without your kick.
Yeah, it's great for a break to get this like little hypnotizing loop.
Yeah.
Dylan Brown asked, will this be on YouTube to watch after? Yes, Dylan, you can go to youtube.com/lessonsinlive. All previous episodes are there. I'm doing this every week mostly. Besides some moving to different countries, but normally this is every week this is on. And you can watch back to last year. There's sessions with Elke Klein, Josh Butler. Well, I can name them again, but you'll find a lot. There's also a lot of tutorials. So check it out. And it's all for free, and that's the best. Sharing is caring, my friend. Cool.
What are these? Yeah. So I feel like this is like one I could probably like start. I could add like I'll probably start working on this. Like,
is there something from the serum preset pack in there?
I think this
one.
is actually.
Is that actually one? Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, if you want to watch
it is.
Yeah, it is. It is the Lessons in Live Serum preset pack for everybody watching. If you like free stuff, well, it's on. I think the Serum one actually costs $3. Well, you can support me. Gumroad.com/lessonsinlive. There's free preset packs for wavetable, for analog, for operator, for Ableton. There's some kick makers and snare makers, as well as a Serum pack. And you've been using it quite a lot. I was so honored that every week you're like, hey, guy, let's check in the Camiel Daamen pack. And I was like, oh, nice. I thought it was more like housey based kind of sounds, but in the end, they're pretty useful for many genres, right? I made a cool ARPs as well for the.
I still am tweaking the crap out of them.
Yeah.
I think this might have been another one too.
Oh, the warm step.
It is.
Yeah. Cool. You've been really using it. So nice.
Yeah.
But you're like throwing.
But if I turn everything off.
Yeah. This was the ARP kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I'm really honored that you use so much of my my presets. Cool. Yeah, I'm building a silent one.
Are you?
Yeah, man. I've been. I once did a Dutch tutorial for Everlearn. It's a Dutch site that does like online tutorials. It was one of my first online tutorial I've ever made. And then they would film me, and I had to come there for 2 days, and I did like Serum and Silent. And I thought, you know what? Why not make a whole pack now for these two? Because I know these really well. I thought, like, you know what, why not do something? So I'm building the silent pack as well as we speak. It's actually on my list here. Silent. So I'm trying to, every day make 2-3 presets, and then by the end of the month I will have like a pack with like 50 or 60 presets.
Good stuff, man. I wanted to fire up. There's this one remix that I'm working on with my man Jimbo that I'm like super pumped about. I'll fire that one's actually pretty close.
Did you do the one on Trybesof with him as well?
Two tracks of the EP. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got more stuff coming out together late. We've got a single coming out together.
Jimbo's here. He says, "Hey yo."
Oh no, is he?
He is. Yeah, just you'll see it appear in a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
He might kill me for pulling up this remix, but
no,
he can...
just a little bit. Jimbo, is it okay if we listen to a bit of the remix?
It doesn't matter. I'm already gonna play it anyway, whether he has to say or not. All right. Let's see. Why is it not playing anything?
We're on. You have to share your screen.
Oh, that's why. Duh. All right, here we go.
He says SMH. Okay, go on then.
Yeah, so this is not done yet, but it's getting there. Let's take it back.
That's cool. This preview stuff.
Falling to the ground, hold me up to see, getting lost in the things we found. What's the trouble in me? Embrace the swells, I'll guide you well. You're not as lost as it seems. Before you go to sleep, I'll guide your dreams and let you know what it means.
Jimbo is another guy in the chat that is obsessed with Tantra.
Yeah,
and I put him onto it. So
I can imagine. Yeah, it's spreading. Hey, and I see there's so much processing going, like the Golfos, the API 2500, the OTT.
Oh, this is my master. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
It's not even my full mastering chain too, because like what I end up doing with my masters is I'll bounce out the pre-masters. And then I'll bounce out the pre-master of this project, and I'll do my mastering session like in a separate project where I'll add like this Acoustica Big Seal, Celestial Big Seal is like a really nice. But it just breaks my computer. It's basically this guy. Where is it? Yeah, the Celestial. This thing just wrecks havoc on my CPU. It's a mastering like saturate. You can like saturate the low, like the lows and the low mids here, and you can add some like stereo. I usually only use these two, and maybe I'll do some EQ a little bit. But yeah, I'll add that. That's like the other one or two other things that I'll add. And then like the Ozone master reference by Ozone 9, the master reference where it suggests like EQ changes on your master.
I love the Ozone stuff. It's ridiculous, you know. It's so good. I use the Neutron a lot on vocals, you know. I have the vocal assistant just assisted, and then it just pimps up my vocal. You know, like yesterday I used it on one of my tracks. I was like, wow, that's ridiculous. Thanks, Ozone. I said. I'm waiting for a meeting with them. I wanna.
Matt Dixon asked when's the release. I think July. I think.
It's
I don't know.
Super nice track. I really like it. And the vocals by
Ross Farron, yeah.
Ross Farron. Ross. Yeah, nice. Well done.
So this will be the second remix that I've ever done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is finally, man. Ivan von Rodona. What a name, man. It's hard for me to pronounce that. I don't know. Where's that from? Ivan von Rodona. Wow. All right, man. It's time to call it a day.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
You got a meeting in 20 minutes, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like the students always come. This time from Dubai. Yeah, so it's crazy. They're New York, Dubai, Taiwan, Kuwait. I'm just connected to the whole world, man. So Corona gave me something positive, which is nice. You know, we don't tour, but we can teach. That's nice.
Good stuff, man. Hopefully, this is fun, dude. I had fun. It was. Hopefully, I don't sound too much like an imbecile going through my projects.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's true. Here, Mr. Fun Verdona, you were in my class. Yeah, man. But then I probably also, I thought it looked familiar, but then I probably also stumbled in your name. Yeah, man. Wassu, thank you so much, man. I really enjoy always, like, if it's live like this, or I'm actually glad we did this because it was about time. And man, thank you for being my student, sort of, because I don't even have the feeling you're my student, because I also learn a lot from you. But I'm glad I can inspire you sometimes to take different directions with your music.
Well, you basically forced me. You're like, all right, you always do this, like do something else. You know, it'd be an interesting project. It would be like write a track from scratch using like synths that you've never used before. It'll suck, but be interesting.
Yeah, because you learn a lot, and then the sessions after that are easy, because then you've got some new tricks up your sleeve, and then you see results and change, yeah, man. We live and we learn. That's how it goes. It's always you learn some new stuff. You get a new plugin. I'm now into the Blue. I got Blue. I've selected some favorites in Blue, but I really want to learn it because it's got 8 oscillators, man, or something. It's ridiculous. So
that's insane.
Yeah, I want to see what it does, and it has some interesting wave forms. It has FM, so it's nice, but it's also like a long journey. So I'm trying to find out. So maybe now I'm doing the silent preset pack, and then we'll move into like a Blue preset pack. That would be great. But man, there's so much to learn and so much to use. There's more plugins than Beatport tracks out there these days. So hard to But yeah. Thanks again, buddy, and. Everybody online, thank you for tuning in with us. It's been great. Please follow my friend Wassu if you're not already doing so. Follow Lessons in Live on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch, wherever you are. There's more of these free sessions that I always do with artists, and but there's also paid stuff that I do. So if you want to support the cause, 5% of my profits goes to the Amazon forest. You can download free preset packs. You can follow beginner scores and advanced scores or a masterclass from other artists. So I hope you enjoy all the content, and you hope enjoy these chats. Next week I'm back with Sydney Charles, which is going to be awesome. Great house head, and looking forward to that one. So thanks, y'all. Thanks, Wassu. See you later.